I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.
Welcome to Cookies, the world's most influential basketball podcast. It is Tuesday, June 30th, the start of NBA free agency, but Andrew Kuo is still shirtless, still celebrating, still at the parade. What's up, champ?
Yeah, I was the only one at the parade. I was celebrating Landry Shamet's re-signing to the Knicks. I was in the Canyon of Heroes, shirtless, alone. There was no wait. I showed up at 6 a.m. for a 11 a.m. parade. It was sick. I'm living the dream, as they say.
Well, you're just traveling from neighborhood celebration to neighborhood celebration. It's Astoria. Algeria has won. Kuo is there celebrating the Knicks championship. Jackson Heights today, when Mexico, Ecuador squares off, you'll be there again, shirtless, with leg lengthening surgery. Again, a parade.
There is no block in New York City that isn't my Canyon of Heroes, except I heard this weekend, perhaps near MSG, ironically. No one's really allowed. It's been shrouded in some wedding mystery.
I saw this, and this does not feel like the proper way to celebrate the Mecca, where the Knicks have brought home a championship after 53 years. But now, it is a more sacred place. It is where Taylor Swift is getting married.
Travis Kelce, Cleveland Cavaliers courtside day one, I believe. Every building has a price, even buildings that are subsidized by our own tax dollars. You can buy out MSG if you want to. If you got $3 million a night, you can do whatever the hell you want in there. What would you do if you had $9 million to spend on MSG?
How long do you get it for 9 milli?
3 nights.
3 nights.
I believe it's $3 million per night, which is a modest amount considering 4th of July weekend and all the Goose and Geese shows that they could possibly be booking, which would probably create revenue more than $3 million a night. But bio data genius James Olin knows that these people walking through these gates, getting photographed by his thousands of cameras, is more valuable than any Goose fan would be.
Once he is able to identify all the celebrities who've gone to Taylor Swift's wedding, he can then put them courtside next to Fat Joe.
Chaim, Stiller, Chalamet. There you go.
Stevie Nicks? What? What I would do is what you would think I would do, which is have full court runs on the championship hardwood with my friends. And then we would all get married.
See, that was a test and you failed. Because what I would do would kind of similar. I would recreate the Nixon 5 with actors playing each player. I've only casted one guy, and that's Waluigi. He's booked. So I got him to commit to being Landry Shamet. The rest is kind of up for grabs.
I like this. I think you could do it as a one-man show, though. I would like that idea, with you playing each role of the championship Knicks, as well as of the defeated Spurs, the humiliated San Antonio team.
What was that? What was that play? Swimming to Cambodia, walking to Cambodia, dribbling, running, tip in, put back to Cambodia.
This sounds like we're going to start talking about the Pinoy step pretty soon.
Wow. How many Pinoy steps did you see in the finals? Not to make this a finals pod again.
There had to be a couple.
0. No, even with Clarkson, 0. There was no Grand Theft Alvarado. There was no shenanigans. Yo, dogs don't do Pinoy steps.
That's fucked up. Because I'm a dog and I do a lot of
Apparently
Pinoy
not.
steps, but maybe
Apparently not.
I
Okay.
either have to stop doing the Pinoy steps or I've been exposed as a non-dog.
You're Jerome Williams junkyard dog, which is
There's a
respect.
new there's a new step. Well, it's not really a new step. It's the Grayson Allen move. Are you familiar with that one? I know we'll get more into basketball in a second, but if we're
Is it
talking
when
football,
you step towards your opponent and kick them in the balls?
that's the Grayson Allen step.
Mm-hmm.
This one, they're calling the Jollof step, like the African rice dish. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's just because of one Instagram reel where a kid does that move, but it's kind of the Grayson Allen move where
Mm-hmm.
you plant one foot and you bring the other one up as if you're going to like rise up for a floater. The defender jumps up and then that foot and the second foot doesn't plant but keeps going forward and you sort of sidestep the defender. It's really cool. I saw our buddy Smiley. He said, we're calling it the Jollof step. So I'm just getting that out there for the step heads out there, the step day ones.
Wait, did
Jollof
you just
step.
make up a step in your personal run and call it a thing?
Mm-mm,
I went Trailblazers Celestial Seasonings for a second. I didn't really listen to all that.
All right, that's fine. Look, all I'm saying is there's a new step out there. They're calling it the Jollof step. It's the new Pinoy.
All right, back to Taylor Swift.
Okay, fair enough.
Should she be allowed to do this? Rent MSG for 3 nights, a publicly invested company which asks for property taxes from our tax dollars, but also shutting down streets, allegedly shutting down streets adjacent to MSG so the celebrities can get in peace. This is 4th of July weekend. There's going to be a lot of tourists probably hoping to see the mecca of basketball. Good luck 4 blocks away.
Yeah, I understand that if you pay enough money, you can shut down New York City streets. That's just how it works.
Mhm.
If you wanted to get a permit to close down a street for a say Cookies Hoops basketball tournament, it costs money to do so, depending on what you're asking for, how the duration. Do you want to construct things? Do you want booze? Do you want music? Do you want whatever? It goes on. So I guess it is one of those things. If you're rich enough, you can shut down whatever you want. If you want to shoot a movie and shut down all the traffic for all of
Vanilla
Greenpoint,
Sky. Yeah. Vanilla
I just
Sky
need-
shut down Times Square.
you can do it if you're willing to pay for it. But I do think shutting down the area around the garden so that the celebs can get in and out is kind of a middle finger to the Knicks, where it's like, you don't need the sidewalk shut down for 20,000 fans or whatever it is, 15,000 fans for celebs, Celebrity Row, Jadakiss, Fat Joe, Ben Stiller. They're not big enough celebrities to shut down the whole street. I disagree.
But what if Jaylen Brown hops out of Mitch's whip to go to this wedding? That changes the narrative a little bit.
Mitch has been driving that large vehicle, his big truck series with his Funkmaster Flex lugs gloves, in and out of every Knicks game for years, and hopefully will continue to do so.
How did he resist not putting chrome testicles on the back of that truck? It has everything else. Maybe he's got class.
I'm being honest with you. I don't know how he resisted.
Yo, at some point,
sure.
his like dealer, his automotive dealer is like, "Do you want balls or not?" And he said, "I'll skip the balls."
Well, Mitch, we're out of it. You got it all. We don't have anything else. There's nothing else here for you except
I'll let my play do the talking for me, is what he said. I'll let my offensive rebound do the testicular gestation for me.
So the reason we're already talking about sports and basketball is not just because the New York Knicks are the reigning champions and the rest of the league is scrambling in chaos, tumultuously trying to catch up. It's because we just live in a sports bar now. Have you noticed this? It used to be a lot of little dive bars. They all have a TV now. Places that had one TV, there's a little one in my neighborhood that they opened up relatively recently. Little TV on the wall, up a little too high for it to be annoying. Lo and behold, the Knicks go to the finals, big playoff run, the World Cup arrives. Now they added a second TV right next to it, and then they added a third TV. Are we turning into Boston because of all the TVs in every single bar, every single restaurant? Is this going to disappear, or have we turned into a city that we didn't want to be?
It's going to disappear like those American flags on every cab after 9/11 for a summer, maybe a little over a year. It's going to have the sports barification of Manhattan and parts of Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island. There will be a backlash, I think. I don't think New York City is necessarily a sports town that looks like Boston, which definitely has a different flair to it. I was at Casa Magazines on Monday to help New York Magazine release their Jalen Brunson issue, in which we have.
And I was going to say, and congratulations, the beautiful portrait that you drew is available in there. And is it just with purchase of that issue, you get the fold out poster in it? Is that how it works?
For now, I want to talk to them about maybe making it available, not folded in some form. But anyway,
you're like, so all of my posters get folded up, you're saying?
Well, I've been getting some angry DMs from people, flattering but angry. I don't take that criticism well. Sort of like Jaylen Brown. I'm going to get on my Twitch
and those are just my messages to you, just me alone.
That's right. So I was at Casa Magazines and we're talking to the people there, and they said the energy in that newsstand magazine shop was comparable to when Biden won the election, when Obama won the election, when 9/11 happened, because people just come out of the woodwork in the West Village looking for trinkets and memorabilia. And he told us he had to limit one New York Post Knicks championship copy per customer. And he was like, yo, listen, you can go down the street and get them. You can just walk into another neighborhood and probably find a trove of them. But I just can't let you walk out with 15 of them because I'm just going to be out of stock with them. Which brings up another question I had. Okay, answer me this. And I think restaurant people would have a succinct rebuttal. But Super Bowl Sunday, talk about a sports town. One Super Bowl Sunday, I was tasked with getting wings for the party. I go into a chicken shop and I say, do you sell only wings? And they were not prepared for the Super Bowl, shockingly. And they said, you can get wings in a chicken box, but I cannot sell you just the wings. And then another person next to him said, I'll sell you all the wings. If we just sell you all the wings, it's the same money to me. There just won't be wings in the box. And they started fighting. And in the end, I did not get my wings. Why won't you sell out? If someone goes to Casa Magazines in this sports town and wants to buy all 500 copies of the New York Post, why don't you just sell it?
In my opinion, it's because those places have regulars, and even a new customer who shows up and says, hey, I want the New York Post. And they say, hey, they're all gone. The next time you might not come back and get the New York Post.
Is it that simple? Like a newspaper or a chicken? You say, well, I couldn't get wings on Super Bowl Sunday, so I'm not going back there on February 28th.
I'm saying, is that the thinking? That
I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason for this.
Well, assuming that restaurants or Casa Magazines calibrates their inventory, that they're going to sell out regardless. So selling it all to one person just means that X amount of people will come in and leave empty-handed. So you're keeping one of your customers happy, and 499 come in and leave empty-handed and go shop somewhere else.
Right. You're looking for the purchases in the margins. Like, I'll take what I came for, and a copy of Vice magazine that I saw was like $20. It was crazy. Not free. I did not know Vice was still making print magazines, and I did not know they were $20.
I heard Vice was coming back as a print publication. I did not know that it was $20, and it wasn't available at a stack of 400 copies sitting at Earwax.
I mean, there's no earwax anymore and no place to leave a stack of Vice magazines, but I was still curious to it. But back to our original conversation, because I think it's really interesting. The guy from Casa Magazines said this is going to be intense, probably all summer, and then it's just going to float away and we'll wait for the next thing. Probably the night that someone defeats Trump, or Trump maybe lets nature take its course, something like that. He didn't say that, I was thinking it. But he says once in a while there is a moment in New York like this, and while this is nothing special, he was delighted at the Knicks culture.
This all checks out. But back to the sports bar thing, because I think we're going to start hearing complaints about this, and we're going to start seeing the media talking about it, because the Knicks and the NBA finals, the playoff run, went directly into an overlap at some points with the World Cup, which has been really entertaining. I'm not a big footy fan, but I've been watching some games here and there.
Nick Nurse over here. They don't call you coach of the Sixers.
Hey, come on. We're not a podcast.
We'll get to basketball.
Shaming. We don't shame. You know this.
Right. No,
but I've been enjoying the World Cup, but everywhere you go, like Dokkaebi, the little Korean spot around the corner, it's been like a quiet corner restaurant on the park for years and years and years. And now there's just a massive flat screen TV in the middle of the restaurant at a kind of weird angle, and it's just sitting there. And I assume a lot of these are going to go away, but I would also guess that a lot won't.
No, they're all going away when the World Cup is over. Unless you get to the World Series.
I'm worried that they'll become normalized.
I don't think so, only because, sheesh, I think of a Yankees run, I think of Eli Manning's run. We've had restaurant people tell us it's just for survival. They have to show the game because customers will just leave their restaurant. In order for, like, this was a thing when I threw parties. You had to have cell service. Sometimes a promoter would offer a basement, and the first thing I would ask would be, is there good cell service? Because if there is none, people will walk out, text somebody, and just leave. Yeah. And that's what happens with most situations, like a moment like the World Cup or a basketball game where the experience has a clock attached to it. Like, I can catch the last 10 minutes of this somewhere else.
And also, one of the few products that have gotten better and cheaper as time has gone on has been the flat screen TV. You can go and get a 60-inch TV, stick it on your wall for a couple $100, and you're making that back at these bars or restaurants within a day. And then you have it for several months. I just get a little scared because I go up to Rochester and it has become a place that every bar has too many TVs, and it sucks. Places that should be a little nice dive bar where you weep into your beer about the closure of Kodak and Bosch and Lomb and the disappearance of industry and the crumbling of the mid-sized American city. Instead, you're watching the Buffalo Bills. You're watching TV. And I really, really dislike TVs in bars unless there's like one little one in the corner. That I like. Like Finelli, totally cool. Or Max Fish, a little TV, whether you're showing old movies or you're showing a game, that's totally cool with me. But the flat screens on every surface, it really saddens me, Andrew.
You don't have to worry about it. In Boston, the curfew was a big issue in Boston. And I think people got their drinking in, sort of like London. I heard they are extending that curfew, and that would take some of the culture / sports culture away from that city. I don't think New York is headed that direction at any point, because the reticence that you're expressing now is felt by everybody. There's not many. It's like uncool to like sports at a certain point. Me and some of our friends love watching like baseball games in the middle of July. It's super weird, but it is like a small community of people who enjoy this, and it is not cool. And the the NBA Finals starring the New York Knicks was an event in New York that felt as big as a national presidential election, uh, the level of a Super Bowl, where even if you were not into it, you would go somewhere to watch it because it was an event. I don't think that ever happens again for another 53 years. So we are going to get our corporate tech overlord watering holes back in a minute.
Yeah, even if the Knicks make another run, it won't be the same. That was
No.
lightning in a bottle.
Yes. If they get to the finals again next year, if they have a dynasty like the Golden State Warriors, there will be a dissipation in the audience that is feverish for it. This, like you said, was not only a once in a lifetime New York City lifetime event. Game 4 was kind of the moment.
The Black Swan event. What does that mean again? Is the Black Swan event when everything goes totally wrong? Is that the Black Swan event?
Or totally right? Were you watching the same game I was watching?
I thought we were talking about the movie.
The Black Swan, as in the Darren Aronofsky film?
Yes, exactly. Black Swan event. It's a rare and unpredictable occurrence that has significant consequences.
That just sounds like every tip-off of every basketball game.
Okay, no, okay. OG, that was a Black Swan event. Not to get racial.
Well, what was the White Swan event? Because wasn't Natalie Portman the White Swan? I watched that movie like halfway. I barely watched that movie. I'm not an Aronofsky dude.
I also just don't really know what a White Swan event would be. Like a totally predictable consequence.
Wemby goes for 60.
Brunson hits the game winner. Blah, blah, White Swan event. Who cares?
Eric White Swan event. Yeah, so New York City is definitely strange. I have thought that, like a cliche, this city is just a little bit more joyous. I think we talked about this on a previous Perfect Pod. It's still around, man. People are still buzzing. It's nice out there.
I mean, we talked a little bit about the fortuitous luck that Zoran had with the cold spell bringing down crime numbers and then the Knicks winning. These are things that were out of his hands, but damn, it feels nice. It looks like Zoran's really got things under control, and there are some pretty funny poll numbers where it was like 10 to 15% higher the amount of people who said, I think he's doing a great job, than approve of him.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, this is great. It's like,
this is why I love to talk about the weather. The weather is
like 65, like it was like 65% of people like they approve of him. 78% think he's doing a great job. I like that. I like that 13 in the middle is like, oh, fuck that dude. He's killing it though.
It's like, why is that dude so even keeled? Just like doesn't care. He's like a nihilist. Oh, he's rich. Okay, right. He doesn't have to think about anything. It's like, why are New Yorkers kind of psyched? It's like, oh, the Knicks won the championship. Like, that'll do it. For sure, that'll do it.
Yeah, he's going to install Sharia law, and he's a communist, but he's doing a crack-up job so far. Spectacular. Nothing.
Is he going to make us read the Bible? That's Sharia law, right? Like making everybody in school read the Bible, which is a good book, I heard. I don't know. I'm never going to read that thing.
I think,
but I respect it.
I mean, I believe it would be the Quran.
Yeah, but in Texas, they're making everyone read the Bible. And
at long last, says Josh Hart of the New York Knicks.
Josh Hart, Brunson, go get your boy. But we'll talk about basketball in a minute. There's a lot of basketball stuff. But
I know,
before
I
we
know.
get,
Stuff, a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
but I mean, it's a good segue because Josh Hart put his thumb in Jalen Brunson's butt, and that is some '90s humor right there. That is some skateboard toxic masculinity kind of stuff. Jackass, is it not the best artwork of this century?
It is, but the greatest artwork to me is that when you get a segue that involves butts and thumbs, you
I've
are
been waiting this whole time. So when Josh Hart did that, I was like, I can't wait till this Jackass movie comes out.
you're as good as it gets. You've been waiting years
That's
to
right.
drop, and you've got an arsenal of thumb butt segues, and that was just one of them. I'm sure.
No,
we'll get,
just one. I've been waiting for this one. It's sort of like OG only has one tip in, no pun intended. So I was thinking today, the Jackass thing is rolling out, the final installment of this movie series, I assume. The people involved are crazy. What like Spike Jones, Lance Bangs,
So wait, tell me a little bit about this. This lost archival Jackass material, or is it newly recorded?
both. Bam Margera has kind of had a tragic run. So he's not in it, but they have archival footage of him doing stuff. And then they've hired young people to do other things, but they themselves, the surviving members of Jackass, still do stuff. And I don't say that this is it's the best artwork of this century. I don't say that without having thought about it. Obviously, it is ridiculous and it is satire and it is whatever you think came out of DIY skateboard culture. But it kind of touches on everything a little bit. If you take any heavy subject in the last century and ask yourself to run it through the Jackass filter, you can do it. And most of it is about this idea of toxic masculinity deconstructed, reducing power into its most basic form, which is past laughter. It's just fear. It's an amazing artwork. And whether that is intentional or not, and I may be over intellectualizing it, but the Jerky Boys were not just the Jerky Boys. It was crazy for them to do what they did. And it is insane for those Jackass guys to do what they're doing because of at around every turn is the idea of mortality. What Odyssey movie is going to make more money this summer?
I don't think you're over intellectualizing Jackass because it is one of those things that is incredibly simple on its surface. A bunch of dudes who are infused with a different kind of Gen X tranquility that is nihilistic, but also full of love. And that's very much the spirit of these scenes, whether it was early rap or skateboarding or hardcore, these ideas that
or the finals in New York City.
Exactly. But there's camaraderie that goes along with, as you said, just a willful ignoring of like mortal danger. Yeah. And that was like that's what skateboarding is. That's what skateboarding is. That's what so much culture was. And yeah, seeing those clips from Jackass, the ones that have gone viral because they were incredible and everyone's sort of sharing their favorite memories. It's like, here's what's his name? The boxer, Butterbean, beating the hell out of dude in the department store. Mm-hmm. And then there's clips of like Wee Man, just like you see, and you're like, it's not mean. It's not the same as the internet pranksters of today, where it's like, I'm going to go up on these strangers and get them mad at me. And then that's the danger I'm going to put myself in. That this person who looks dangerous because I'm in the ghetto, quote unquote, or I'm in the hood, and I'm going to get them mad at me. Or it's going to be a random person I'm going to pretend to steal money from their phone with my phone. Mm-hmm. The danger is like aggravating someone or trolling someone or rage baiting someone. It's not intentionally subjecting yourself to danger and laughing in its face.
Yeah, I mentioned the Odyssey because I feel like they're wandering. These guys are just wandering. Some of the funniest clips are the simplest ones. The big budget ones I get, like when they recreate a skateboard the size of a city block and go down a hill, like that's crazy. But when Johnny Knoxville tases himself and gets bear sprayed right to the dome, and just like with a crappy camcorder, it is it is like a primal scream, I think, for a generation, which is Generation X, and also people who are powerless and people who have no choice but to laugh at shit and confront death in this way. And of course, it's an extremely strange and uh, irreverent take on it. But when you sit with the movie, it's like some heavy ideas going on, and they've been doing it for so long. These are no dummies who are creating this stuff. Spike Jones has made some of the greatest artworks I've ever seen in my life. Lance Bangs as well. Like, I just watched his Flint documentary. This dude just is awesome. He's just so awesome. And these guys are involved in Jackass. So none of this is as simple or as complicated as it seems. But I do think it it is political and it is super emotional.
Yeah, there's something that I can't shake about the willingness to have the joke on you, the danger on you, that very rarely is someone outside of the crew victimized in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
And they laugh at it no matter what. They laugh at it. I mean, one of my favorite clips ever is when they're using the air horn on the golf course. And it's so great. And the golfers are getting furious at them, and like that's one where there is kind of an outside victim in some ways, but
the golfers, fuck them,
they're golfers.
Yeah.
And then one of the golfers starts like rocking shots at them as they're hiding in these bushes, and then he lines up another one that he's trying to hurt these guys. He's trying to send a missile right into the bushes to hit the Jackass guys. And the one's like, hold on. And then as the guy goes back to swing, he hits him with like the air horn again as he's trying to hit them. It's like, it's just perfect. It's perfect. Right. And they're the ones in danger. They're the ones who are the jokester and the subject of the joke. Yeah, it's just very different from hidden camera humor when the joke is on the stranger, the joke is on the pedestrian. I'm going to jump out of the bushes, and the joke is on the person walking by. Mm-hmm. It's so different from that.
Yeah, Linklater, Gen X King, I believe got an Oscar for Boyhood, where he follows in real time a young boy into early adulthood, maybe solid adulthood. This is Jackass, right? We've been, even before they started doing Jackass, these guys were famous in skate videos, and we've watched them get older. And I have not seen the last movie, but I've heard a review where I believe it. The person said, "This is sad. They're sad. You can see how sad they are, that they can't do the things they once did, that they understand that they're going to die, that they're scared." There is a different tone of laughter in this one, and I can't wait to see it because I know it's going to be great. But when I see the new characters doing this stuff, it's just not the same. Jackass was never a movement. It was just these guys.
I agree. And I mean, the point you were making about Johnny Knoxville is funny because he had that. He was really unique. And this is not a point that I'm bringing up now. It's one that I've seen made, is that he was the leader of the crew, and he was the one who told people how they were going to get fucked up. Here's what you're going to do. Here's your fate, and you have to accept it. But he saved the really gnarly stuff, or at least much of the really gnarly stuff, for himself. So it wasn't as if he was the ringleader who was imperiling his boys. He was still the one leading them into battle to get his ass beat by Butterbean in a department store.
Yeah.
But I remember after the pandemic, he reemerged on the scene, and he'd always had that just sort of even when he forayed into acting, this youthful appearance to him, his youthful energy. And he appeared and his hair was like stark white. And he said, yeah, I kind of stopped dyeing it during the pandemic and just left it. And everyone said, wait a minute. Oh, wait, hold on. I thought he was kind of still a 20-year-old. Like, no, he's 55 years old.
It's crazy. Through this Knicks month, I bet, we talk about the bona fides and people trying to say the names of their youth to make them exist again. Charlie Ward, Chris Childs, John Starks, whatever. And then I got into a debate about like old bands, specifically Dinosaur Jr. I believe Spin put out a top 50 that was meant to troll people who cared, like myself. And it became a realization for me as I got heated and I went through every album and tried to dissect it that I'm just like a mark. I'm a mark for this stuff. And the irony of watching someone like Johnny Knoxville get tased willingly is not lost on me as I tase myself willingly every fucking day of my life, being like, "Oh, I hope the Knicks keep Ariel Hook party." I'm like, why do I care? I'm a champion. Why do I care? I do care. I'm getting maced in the face over here, fellas.
R.I.P. Huck Porty.
We hardly knew you.
He leaves a champion.
Yeah. But
he did get on the court in the NBA Finals.
For sure. Yo, Jeremy Sohan was on the court when the title was played. He almost fouled Wemby anyway. A few episodes ago, we were talking about the insufferable New York branding that is going to occur after this miraculous event. Have you seen it play out? Have you been on these streets thinking to yourself, damn, that Siegelman guy, Mr. Stables, rolling in cash right now?
I mean, yes, there's part of that. I do think we would be remiss not to mention the amount of incredible Knicks championship merch that is coming out of the Cookies Hoops interns. The t-shirts with the characters on the back, the trophy, and a cartoon character of note on the front. Spectacular.
We're going to keep it rolling. We're going to do events. Keep an eye out. The interns will let you know. They'll let us know when these events occur this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, the energy has been so immaculate. And part of it was that the weather was really nice. And yeah, no, everyone's been extremely chill, extremely nice. You walk around the city like, what's up, dog? What's up, champ? Like, weather's nice. Brewdog? Yeah, why not? On me. No, on me. We live in New York, remember? And I just think about all the other poor saps living elsewhere. Huh. You don't live in Titletown. You don't live where the World Cup is playing. All right, so hold on. The Borum Hill thing. Just lie about it being French. What's up with that?
Is it the new Little Paris? You tell me. I don't know. I don't know about this. Borum Hill.
This is the long-standing lore of Borum Hill, and it always struck me as completely fraudulent. They would do a Bastille Day, and everyone would show up and pretend to be French and sit up. Yeah.
The taint between Fort Greene and Cobble Hill, Borum Hill.
Yes, they've been pushing this shit forever. There's a little bar like Tabac, and like, yeah, it's like,
this I know
is where
that
the
one.
French people live, and they were this idea, this fictional thing that it was like a French neighborhood.
There's French immersion schools there. There's two, I believe, that I friends of mine send their kids to. Interesting. I did not know this about Borum Hill.
So how far are they willing to take this scam if they're creating schools in order to perpetuate this idea that it's a French quarter, if you will?
Wow. Pacome Dadier on Smith Street. That's crazy. Damn. I did not know this, but I like regional as New York City is naming streets for basketball players temporarily. Found myself in Little Italy that went into Little Paris. maybe I take a trip down to Chinatown. Oh, it turns into Tribeca. I love it. It gives the city some sort of texture. I don't know why there's so many French places though. Shouldn't there be like Dutch zones? Um
I don't know
this
if we have a Dutch zone. I gotta say, the videos coming out of Steinway on Astoria are so cool
why what's
because
going on?
so in the same way we just became accustomed to taking to the streets and shutting them down to celebrate when the Knicks came back in game 4, when they won in
OG
game
Anunoby
5,
tip.
then the parade happened. It's like, yeah, if anything kind of happens, you just shut down the street and jump on cars. They're doing it with every Middle Eastern team that wins in the World Cup. They just
Oh, that's cool.
roll to Steinway, and it's like the traffic is shut down. People are dancing on vehicles. They're lighting off fireworks. They did it last night for the Moroccan team beat the Dutch in a shootout, and then the videos were insane. It was just fireworks everywhere. They're doing it when Egypt wins, maybe Algeria, but Morocco and Egypt are the two over there. And then the same thing is happening with like the Ecuadorians if you go over to Jackson Heights. And when I was there earlier, I was going by a little Mexican supermarket, grabbing some cacti, as one does for my breakfast.
Consumption?
Yes, consumption. And, everywhere is just Ecuadorian jerseys, Ecuadorian flags, or Colombian. The whole place is, like red, blue, and yellow everywhere. I kind of thought it would be mostly Mexican, and I was definitely wrong. It is Ecuadorian and Colombian.
I listened to the New York Times Daily podcast about the success of this World Cup. And an idea that I had not thought of was the referendum or backlash of hooliganism in soccer, especially in England. And that was so romanticized in the 90s and aughts and even like there was movies about it, starring Frodo or Elijah Wood, whichever character he was. And there has been the opposite of that in this World Cup. I guess cities are delighted by the takeover of these nationals from Europe and the Middle East and embracing American culture. like this these white hots are incredible. Like you're gonna put garbage on this plate.
Yes.
I love it. All these mythologies are changing, and these new relationships are kind of connecting. And I thought it was an interesting pod to listen to. And to your point, it's I've always thought of soccer and the World Cup on the edge of danger. There's gonna be a fight. Boston, Massachusetts. Someone's gonna throw a punch. There will be beef. But I think since there are so many visible evils in 2026, we just kind of get along better. Is that a overstatement?
I hadn't necessarily thought about the lack of hooliganism, but you're right. That was such a big part of. I mean, even a couple of years ago, was the Israeli team was like running around fighting people in the streets of, I want to say, Amsterdam or whatever it was. I mean, this is
That's right. That's right.
This is a continuing part of soccer. It happens in the UK all the time.
It's the culture, right? You see those torches. We see that footage. The fans are dogs.
I'm sure it happens in regional matchups like Boca River versus, I forget their Boca versus River, I guess what it is. I'm, again, not a big fan, but that's like Argentinian rival teams, or they're playing against teams from Rio. Right. There was always a lot of physical altercations. But yeah, this seems to be so wholesome. I mean, even the clip of like the Japanese guy just absolutely freaking out, and then the Colombian fans, or no, the Brazilian fans, like wrap him in Brazilian flags as he's freaking out, just kind of like swaddling him like a crying infant, like, sorry, your team won, but we're going to bring you into the fold, literally and figuratively, within like Brazilian flags, until he was like cocooned.
I was on the B46 bus, and some unstable, lonely dude was digging into everybody, going one by one. It's like, look at this B word. look at this, dude, you know. And he got to me, and he was just like, "Oh, you motherfucking South Korean, Japanese," and I'm like, "You got World Cup fever, bro." He's like, "Chinese, Taiwanese." I was like, "Damn, who's your team, dude? You love soccer. You're a footy fan. I can respect that."
As he got your ethnicity wrong, were you kind of like giving him subtle nods? He's like Japanese, like no, keep going, keep going. Are
I was
you
like,
from Are you from Jakarta?
we're all Knicks fans, buddy. We're all in that orange and blue mindset.
Think
Let's
Jeremy.
hug it out.
Think Lynn Sanity. Closer, closer.
That's right. But yeah, I do have my in my local supermarket where I go every day. The guys there are Mexican, and they are psyched to talk to me about the World Cup. They're just like, "Oh shit!" And they do the same thing to me there. They're just like, "Damn, South Korea's fucking good, man! Like they're gonna go far." I'm like, "That's cool." I'm not South Korean, but I love Asian people, and this is an awesome conversation. I don't know shit about soccer, and I have not watched 1 minute of this World Cup, but I got that fever.
I've watched a few. I don't know much, but I'm addicted to the public celebrations. I'm full
You
of
like
FOMO.
revelry?
I
Yeah.
I want to carouse. I see these scenes from a story. I'm like, in my heart, I was rooting for Morocco. Shouldn't I be there? Aren't I owed a little of this public celebration as well?
Can this happen without sports? Like, why does this always have to be sports? You know, like, why can't we celebrate a movie, some art? Maybe a painting comes to the Met. Can't we revel in that? Come on.
Dude, I just had an incredible like dish with like Polish platter, pierogies, some
That sounds
sausage, some
great.
permutations of
Yeah.
pork and cabbage and potatoes.
Yum.
Let's take to the streets of Greenpoint. Come on, we're celebrating the Polish platter, one of the best I've ever had.
Damn, Shane Matan got 2 stars from the New York Times. Let's blow up Greenpoint. Why is it always sports? I find myself shrinking a little bit when I think about how much joy I feel about something that has meaning. I'm not saying sports is meaningless, but at the same time lurches on, sports lurches on. But like there's cool stuff out there, like poetry, I music. I don't know, shit. It's
I
always
mean,
sports.
to be fair, we do it for music. We just have to pay. We can't really take to the streets unless it's a free concert, but we sort of do it. Like new Geese album. All right,
I'm
let's get
psyched.
thousands of us. Let's get out there and
Yeah.
celebrate this by listening
One
to
of
it with Geese.
one of my non-sports friends asked me what I like to experience with strangers the most. And I said, a concert. I hate being next to strangers watching sports. I don't like being next to strangers during elections. That stresses me out. I don't like being next to strangers uh, in Christmas time, to see the Rockefeller Center tree. But I do love watching music with a horde of people I don't know. It's awesome. To your point, yeah. When we go see, like, what would be the biggest concert in your old ass age that you'd be willing to go to now?
That's a tough one.
Right? Because
You
yeah,
still go to a concert every now and then, but I feel like that's more friend obligations.
I still go alone to concerts sometimes though. I really enjoy that. Um, that evergreen New York magazine piece. Who eats alone at diners, right? But I do love going to shows alone just to experience that without like worrying if someone's having a good time or if they gotta go or they're not drinking. I just get to go on my own terms. Um, some punk bands like Paramount Theater, close to the French Borum Hill district, would be my biggest venue I would go to. I don't know if I would go to a festival or like Giant Stadium. They don't even call it that. MetLife Stadium at this point.
I'm
Cool.
trying to think of the last concert I went to solo that wasn't for work. Back when I wrote about music or nightlife, I would go to events by myself all the time. Like, okay, I got to check this place out, or I want to review the show or this artist and things like that. I think recently I went to see Dev Hines, because he's someone that we know,
Mhm.
and that was in Williamsburg.
Remember test
Uh,
icicles?
yeah, I remember when Dev would hang
They
out
were
at
kind of good.
Commodore. He shot one of his videos in my old apartment in Williamsburg.
Shout out to Lightspeed Champion.
He was Lightspeed Champion when he shot the video in my
I
apartment.
was a fan. I liked it.
Yeah. But yeah, I went to see him, but I also kind of knew that I would run into people that were in the same sort of circle of people who Dev knows. But like a random one, maybe I'd go see like RX Poppy if no one else wanted to. I'm just trying to think if there's like,
Yeah.
would
It's
I?
nice,
But
man. It's nice.
I'm trying to think if there was a show that was at Brooklyn Steel. Like, all right, I got you a ticket. You want to walk over there?
Right.
I don't know. I'd rather eat at a diner by myself than go to a
Yeah.
show.
We talked about I somehow found myself in my dirty ass room for that comeback in game 4, and I was so grateful just to experience it by myself. And I have that same feeling when I go to restaurants, and except when the restaurants are bad and then I can't talk to anyone about it. When it's good or great, I'm so closer to peace than I am than when I'm with someone else. But when it's bad, like I got some cold undercooked dumplings the other day. Man, I was hoping I was with someone else. I'm like, am I going crazy or is this raw in the middle? Am I losing my mind? Is this Fight Club?
I made a similar error a couple months back when I don't like tuna melts. I don't know why I ordered a tuna melt. It's never been something in my
Delicious.
wheelhouse.
Come
I
on,
just
with a little
saw.
bit of onion.
I used to like them back in the day at that diner on Waverly Diner. They
Is
used to make.
Waverly Diner not still there?
I'm not sure. I haven't gone in a long time. It might be there, maybe it's not. But I used to get a tuna melt there. That was good.
Oh,
But this one, it was just a tuna fish sandwich with like a half melted piece of cheese on top. I hated it. I was so furious. It was one of
Did
the
you
worst
eat it? Did you
decisions.
finish it?
I ate half just because otherwise it wouldn't have served the purpose it was supposed to do, which was to make me not
That's a
as hungry.
crazy order. I gotta say, that's a crazy order.
I did it, and I was like, "Huh? What got into you?" I was
You're
kind
in
of
Fight Club.
it was a little out of body experience. I just kind of snapped out of it, and there was a tuna melt in front of me at 1:30 at night. What the hell is that?
Back in the day, I used to go to MSG alone. Maybe like in the early aughts, like 99, 2000, 2001, 2002. It was nice. That was scalping days with cash. Did you ever do that? Like go to last time I was in Miami for an Art Basel, I went to a Heat game alone. It was nice. I had some popcorn, some brew dogs, just sitting there thinking about math.
I mean, yeah, I'll go to a. I don't really do it that much, but I have. I'll go to a basketball game by myself. That's great.
I love it. I love it. You just get to wander around. We go to a lot of games back when I used to go to games. I would like to show up at like six, right when they put the hot dogs on the rollers. I like to be in the arena at that time because I feel there's a magic to it that I love. You get to see the players warming up. You see the staff kind of coming together to do their thing. It is beautiful, and I love to just sit there and watch that stuff. But it's awesome, and I think the experience way back to the idea of New York City as a sports bar. There is a degree of disassociation in that environment. If you go to an amazing restaurant and there's like a TV there, there's a disconnect that can happen just with the glow of the fire, or like where the fly buzzing around the open flame. I find that to be easily uh, um, over overcome. But we have our phones. I don't know what is better or worse. I went to a literary magazine party this week, and I told myself I didn't go with anybody or know that many people there, and I just decided I would not take out my phone. I would just stand there and eat high chews and drink bad beer, and it was nice. I talked to people I'd never met before.
I got to say, I don't think we need to like go back to talking to all these strangers and stuff. But there is something to acknowledging the people in your presence and just sort of figuring out who they are. And maybe they're worth talking to, maybe they're annoying, versus the just antisocial staring at the phone and next to someone who's also staring at their phone. I'm not saying we need to culturally shift all the way back to that, but there is something nice about it. And there's a bar in Greenpoint called Connie O's, and it is very much like those
Oh, the
Rochester
Connie
style.
corridor. Damn, look at you on brand.
It is full of screens. It is very much a Rochester style bar. Every square inch is covered with screens showing sports. But it is also one of those bars where if you sit down, someone's talking to you, and then someone else is going to talk to you. It's a kind of a towny bar. Some people call it scary. If you look at its reviews, it's pretty Trumpy. They are pretty bigoted. It's an old Irish bar with a lot of cops. I'm saying I'm not here to vouch for Connie O's. I'm saying that it's that kind of bar
Oh,
where people are going to talk to you, and those conversations, you might hear something you don't want to hear, but they're going to engage with you. And that's clearly there is a group of people who are younger who find that jarring, that you
I
walk
find that
into a
jarring.
bar and
Yeah.
people walk in like, so where are you from? What's going on? And like, you really got to be in the mood for that.
There are, I mean, small, intimate gatherings for magazines aside.
Well, like a
I
Tokion
have
party, for example.
right down the block. I have a problem where if I meet somebody at a place I go to a lot, say a grocery store or a restaurant, and they chat with me, I kind of never go back because the small talk drives me insane. I hate it. The supermarket I go to, I can only go into when I'm feeling good, which is like one out of 2.5 times. Some days I just don't want to talk to anybody, so I go like 4 blocks further down to a supermarket where I don't know anybody because it's just too much. And it's that Uber thing where I get into an Uber and I don't want to talk. I don't want to look at my phone. I just want to look out my window. And the driver says, "Can you believe this traffic?" I'm like, "I can believe this traffic." I guess tell me about your grandkids. That sounds great. That is amazing. This is like a Jim Jarmusch movie, but I wish we'd be summoned by aliens and lifted into the sky.
But I wish it was on my TV and I was on my couch and I could turn it off.
Yeah, the Zoomer like, disassociation. I think is visceral. You see it on the subways a lot when young people are in the middle of bottlenecks, even creating bottlenecks, and their attitudes are, "Listen, I'm not talking to you. You don't talk to me. I'm minding my own business. Like your existence is independent of me standing here." Very Chinese, very Chinatown. Like I don't see you. It doesn't matter. Go about your day. But when it impedes the flow of people going in and out of a subway car, it becomes an issue where unks like LeBron James, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, and Draymond Green would come out and say, "Hey, you're in the way," and it would start a mild argument.
I've been kind of on my uncular behavior with that stuff lately.
I bet.
I got to say, when I get in
You
the
mean
subway and someone leans on the pole, hey, you mind not
Mhm.
leaning on the pole? I don't say it rudely. I'm just like, hey, do you mind not leaning on the pole? I don't want your hand and back. You know, I don't
Yeah,
need like the to be caressing your back with my hand. I think we can all share this.
that's acceptable.
Yeah, I've had a couple other situations where I've really been on my call them out unk mode.
Do
It's
tell.
kind of I've it's the jackass filter, you know.
Come on.
All right. So I was at the local park. I drank a coffee there and wanted to fill up my water cup. You know, the coffee cup. I'm like, okay, I want something else to drink. It's gonna warm out. Walk over there, and there's a guy with his dogs, and he's having a drink of water. Then he helps his dog up onto the like little circular platform where you drink the water. And I would just start staring at him. He looks at me. He's like, "Is there a problem?" I'm like, "Yeah, your dogs are up on the drinking fountain." He's like, "Well, it's for everyone." I'm like, "No, it's for humans. It's a drinking fountain for humans. It's not for dogs." And he's like, "Well, it's for everybody." And then he like walks off, and I'll yell, "It's humans! It's for humans!" as he leaves. Anyway, I've been on my unk shit.
It is kind of a New York City thing in the way that I have a toddler who I have to teach about, for example, water fountains in parks. Some people let their dogs get all up in there, so we don't drink out of those. It sucks, but you cannot trust someone not to have their dog up on there. Or don't play in the areas that are around trees, like the dirt around trees. That's where dogs pee, that's where people pee. The elevators of subways, don't touch the sides. It sucks. And that's when my unk soul comes out as well. Just because, and I can't tell what came first, the germophobia or the unkishness, because they're tied together. It's always about hygiene. I'm like,
Well,
no, I have to be there.
you've had some really traumatic events, and that turned our podcast into a poop procedural for a while.
I mean, refresh my memory because I have many of them, but
There's the
poop is
birthday,
back.
the
poop is
yellow
back.
birthday, the
Oh,
yellow
yeah.
birthday party incident.
That's when New York Magazine, I believe, or Willie Staley, our go-tos. One of them was talking about the shit in New York City from dogs, from Mike Brown, dogs who were let out, and it was curbed, no pun intended, for a while. It's back. The poop is back, man.
Yeah, I walked out of my apartment. It was just a nice, fresh mound, flies around it like a cartoon. You know, like zzz, I'm like, what is this?
Like
It just
some
have
soft
stink
serve.
lines emanating
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
coming up from it. And it was a nice footprint, like right in the middle of it. Someone had just trod down on it nobly, right in the middle of it. You could see it was, hookah print. And I'm like,
Is this
I
an
thought
on cloud print?
I thought you had learned shame. I thought we had publicly shamed the dog owners and like, oh, summertime rules are off.
I got unkified when I saw somebody walking their dog in front of my building and they were peeing on the tree. And I just opened the door and I go, yo, I had nothing else because I get caught up in doing stuff. Like sometimes I will say, like, have you no shame? And they'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, that's a good point. I'm not phrasing this correctly. I should just be like, hey.
Another one of my unk moments in the park. A lot of them take place in the park. It's a great spot for unks to like.
Yeah, that's the unk sweet spot, man. Get to your spot.
Like midi unk
Dunker
midi.
Yeah. Where's your unk dunker spots? Like that bench.
Yeah, so I'm back in my unker spot basically, and
Yeah.
I'm walking along. This woman's watching her dog, and the dog's just shredding the grass, like just digging. I'm just looking at her, and she turns to me and smiles. And I'm like, it's like, what are you doing? And she's like,
Yeah.
he's digging. I'm like, well, have him stop digging. And she's like, oh, well. I'm like, you're digging up a park, and you're watching your dog like he's interesting. This is my biggest problem with dog owners. They swear their dog is up to something interesting. Ooh, what does he know? It's just a dog sniffing in the grass, and they're like hypnotized by this little pooch digging in its own poo. Like, what do you know? You're so wise. You're such a little man.
Dude, me and our homie Jeremy Relosa from New York Magazine were chilling in Casa Magazine, right? Similar story, but with different species. And they have the ubiquitous T-shirts, with their address on the breast and on the back, Casa written in all the publication styles. And a model walks in, obviously West Village, nothing special. She goes to the T-shirts. It's a small place, and she's just like chatting everyone up, including the owner. She's like, "Oh, these are great. How much are they?" He's like, 40. And he's like, "Oh, I really like this one." We're like, "Yeah, you should get it." And she takes it off the hanger and puts it on. And she asks the owner, "What do you think?" And the owner says, "Very bad, very, very bad." And she laughs because she's obviously a model and she thinks the owner is saying, like, "You're too pretty for this," or "It's just a plain T-shirt." It's like something, a compliment is coming. A compliment was not coming. He goes, "Sweat, it's hot out. Now you got my shirt all dirty. You better buy that because I'm not getting a fresh one. You got it all dirty." Very bad, very, very bad in that Seinfeld way. And I was like, damn, that is some shame doled out in real time in front of our eyes. She bought the tea and she walks out happily with her item. And the guy doesn't even, sort of like you in your Unker spot. He has his Unker spot behind the counter and he's just like, "It's fucking people. Am I right?" And we're like, "Yeah, whatever." You took care of your business. I don't know. It's your business.
Like pretty privileged not flying over there.
I know. But it's always about hygiene. It's always about, obviously, space and the encroachment of space as we segue into basketball. But it is about hygiene. It is about, you cannot leave this dirty thing. There has to be some sort of dignity or protocol here. And I do feel the incorrect reading of stoicism by Zoomers makes them seem antisocial. But really, what they're doing is proving an even larger uncular point.
Speaking of unks and people who are
Let's
perceived as antisocial,
Let's go.
your man Kawhi Leonard clearly thinks there are no extradition policies, agreements with Canada. No, it's not North Korea, Kawhi. Going to Toronto will not get you off the hook for your various crimes.
Steve Ballmer gets a lot of this blame. Shout out to Pablo Torre, Pulitzer Prize winning Pablo Torre, in his reporting about this story. But Kawhi Leonard also, come on, man. I was saying there should be a aspiration rule where each team is allowed to do whatever the hell they want with one player. It doesn't count towards the tax. Get donated to some startup. Doesn't matter. Hey, yo, you want to keep Mitch Robinson? You could do whatever. Kawhi Leonard rule. You could just do it.
The Siegelman stability rule, if you will. You can get
that's not
some income from an outside source to alleviate the cap space that your team would have to.
4 caps. Cap space, cap lies, the captain, and which one am I forgetting?
The Siegelman Staples cap.
Yeah, that's right. The hat. Yeah. 4 caps. Yo, they say it's whenever there's 4 caps, there's trouble.
So Kawhi Leonard traded back to Toronto, where of course he won a championship, and I don't know, time goes so fast. What was that? 2016? Who can even say?
I don't know.
2018, 18, 2021. I don't even know
what year it was. It was 2026 when the Knicks won the champion. That was the
2016. I don't know. Whatever it was. Pre-pandemic. I don't know.
0 minutes played, but ring on his finger.
I'm gonna say that was 2018. I could be wrong. I'm just making that up. I'm saying it was 2018. Not looking it up either, because we play by our own rules here. Just like Steve Ballmer.
Yeah. Dude, when is he going to get... He was allowed to pick his lottery guy in the draft he's allowed to get a king's ransom for Kawhi. He got a haul for Kawhi Leonard.
I don't know.
2 unprotected first round picks.
Those are
I
good.
know. That's a lot more than an aging Kawhi Leonard who's probably going to play 30 games this year.
Well, okay, a couple points on that. One, that is true. Kawhi Leonard is infamous for injury problems. He was ridiculously good last year. I think
it's a primal scream.
It could be a death knell.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy put up 28 points in 32 minutes a game on the highest efficiency of his career. He's not the same defender he was back when he won a title. He's still good. And I think that makes Toronto a really interesting team to try to keep up with the Knicks, as they say.
With IQ, I mean, I hate just listing starting lineups because a lot more goes into that. But we're talking IQ and Barrett.
I like IQ there. Barrett,
I
think Barrett, they need a better shooter, but I think IQ is still a very good starter. Mm-hmm. But then they're going to go Kawhi and Barnes and CBM.
What's his
last name? Boyle. CMB. Yeah, who I think is really talented. That's a cool, interesting team. He's on the team too.
Still there? Okay,
he's still there.
That's
a cool, interesting team though. A bunch of like big guys who can pass the ball, who block shots, who are mobile. I don't know. Toronto's cool. Sure. I can look at that team and say, yeah, this is some bullshit that I would do. I can see myself devising this kind of ridiculous team. I'm into it.
It's tough for me to break the spell of none of this matters because the Knicks are just going to sweep them.
We have a year of this, huh?
A year, a lifetime. It's over, man. This is
once the championships and after. Once the Raptors, send the Knicks packing in the first round of next year's playoffs.
Halliburton, I see you. Well, I just don't like all these aging stars going different places and expecting them to perform like they're not on their way out. I don't, even Giannis in human and dog years is young, I guess, not in dog years. But in injury years, like, he's cooked. I'm not interested in John Morant anymore, sadly. These names going back and forth are not as interesting as Austin Reeves.
Yeah, that could be true. I don't know. I feel like
I'm a hater.
I think the one thing about the Kawhi deal is that, yes, it does create this very narrow window where you're trying to win with Kawhi Leonard, which does seem implausible. That you're like, hey, maybe we'll get a year that he's healthy and we'll take a crack at this, or we'll go back to our load management that he kind of invented when he was on Toronto the first time. It is just funny that he went back to Toronto. That's just a very odd thing for him to do. Where are you going to go? I'll go back to Toronto where I won. Is that just because he knows there's kind of no expectations now that he goes back there and he's hurt, but he's back to where he won a title?
I mean, Toronto's sick. It is. I don't really care about the basketball part of this as much as I care about the procedural part. This sucks that the Clippers were not punished. As all these teams are flipping their rosters to try to get under this very prohibitive apron, and then Ballmer just does whatever because he owns the league, not to get into politics, but we just saw Malik Beasley get arrested, I believe. Your boy Ed Davis, who I was kind of a fan of as a player. I thought he was a sneaky good backup. But this is crazy. To think that there was a player as recently in the playoffs, as recently as 2 years ago, cooking games. And then you had an owner in Ballmer circumventing a rule so he can add a superstar to his team. It's just sports. I know. But this is important stuff. because then everything that we've seen we cannot really believe.
Well, right. This is emblematic of the world we live in so many ways, where whether you wanted to take it down to like there's one sentence for crack cocaine and another one for powdered cocaine, or well, we're going to change the rules for Wall Street because SpaceX is going to have its IPO and they're just really wealthy and Elon is the richest guy on earth, and we're just going to change the Supreme Court rules so that candidates can work directly with super PACs. Like, right. It's just piggery across the board. The pigs win. The people who are willing to just spend the most money on it. Sure, you can get married in Madison Square Garden. Why not? Shut down the whole city. You're rich. It's cool.
At some, I know in a tournament format in sports and in life, the object is to win and advance, and you will do anything within the parameters of that system in order to be the last one standing. That said, it is a really underrated idea of just being cool. Can you just be fucking cool? If you're president, do not make 3,000 stock market trades. If you're Taylor Swift, go to an island. Can someone just be fucking cool for once?
That's what me and you are here to do.
I mean, I want to say words like morality and justice has to matter. Ethics have to matter. But it really comes down to just like fucking just be cool on a subway or in the White House.
I can't say that the robber barons weren't vile. We know the history of the world is full of awful people doing awful things because they can. But the lack of shame today. There's people in public parks picking up their dogs and drinking out of human water fountains. Society has run amok. I'm there in the dunker spot, jackass filter off, telling people what I think.
I mean, it is an interesting wrinkle when someone in power says to you, more or less, well, what are you going to do about it?
I mean, this is what the league is doing, right? Yeah. I mean, if you look at the behavior of Adam Silver, who is not a singular figure here, he is the totem and the representative of the 30 NBA owners. The idea of the commissioner being this all-powerful figure is just not true at all. I mean, he is employed by the owners to be their face, and maybe he mediates beef between various owners at various times, but he is not this supreme being. He is the ownership's deity. And you look at the decisions that they've made, whether it's to get in bed with gambling companies, and then you see what's happening with Beasley and Jonte Porter. It's the TV deals that make it onerous and annoying to be a fan of the league, where you have to own 5 different cable subscriptions to watch all the games. Or it's splitting the NBA draft into 2 days. Like, none of this is fan service. None of it. Ballmer, he cheated? What are you going to do about it, man? It's a private company. If the other owners aren't going to raise a stink because enough of them are like, well, yeah, that's kind of how it gets done half the time around here. Okay, then. I guess that's my question. Where are the other owners on this? They've been real quiet. They've defended him.
There's a committee that is investigating aspiration and Ballmer, and it's headed by...
Wait. So you're saying they got this sorted. Justice is going to prevail.
There's this guy that you can trust who is an owner of the Maple Leafs and Raptors, who's the head of this committee.
Finally, some fucking accountability. Okay. We're gonna get to the bottom of this thing.
You like watching Joel Embiid do wonderful things on the basketball court. I'm watching this guy Tannenbaum go to work on this committee. You know,
here we go. Fucking
just
yes.
What are you gonna do to slap the hand of Ballmer?
The hammer of justice is coming down on Ballmer's dome. It's going to crack like an egg. What do we got?
Our people in the streets demand it. He got Kawhi Leonard. He got the player in question on his own team in Toronto, man.
Wait. Oh, case closed.
Yep. Yo, problem solved. Yo, Vincent, we don't need Vincent D'Onofrio anymore. Mariska Haggerty, you can retire finally. Case closed forever.
Iced tea, no need.
A lot of cops. It's crazy. And our boy Pablo has talked about this the whole way. But it's like, okay, yo, they traded Kawhi Leonard. Oh, to who? To the guy investigating Ballmer? Oh my God. And he's gonna make even more money. Oh my Jesus.
I don't know. Seems fair to me.
I can imagine Ballmer just calling Tannenbaum, just being like, fuck you. You're gonna give me 2 unprotected picks. Tannenbaum's being like, yes, sir. Ballmer got busted for being like a monopoly with Microsoft. Like, this is what this guy does.
Well, anyway, Kawhi's back in Toronto and he's crossing the border like he's got a 15-year-old in the fucking passenger seat.
Yikes. Yo, but the delicious irony of Kawhi to Toronto in this shadow is, he's got nothing left, man. Like, I hate to be that guy. I love Kawhi Leonard, an instant Hall of Famer, kind of like the Wingstop assassin. I got no problems with Kawhi Leonard. But yeah, no. You're not going to do shit with Kawhi Leonard in 2027.
But okay, so there's a lot of stuff to talk about. That we got that out of the way. That was our moral rampage. We got on our soapbox. We told you about
now what's right and wrong. Math for 45
what's right and wrong. Now let's talk about these goddamn nerds who are ruining the sport with their analytics.
Man, that evergreen advanced analytic versus meat watching debate. Man, we're back. We're back. I mean, we had a little reprieve, rooting for everyone's favorite team. Obviously, they won it. Now we get to talk about the nerds versus the dudes.
Here's the thing, man. You nerds are ruining the sport that I just watched and saw Jalen Brunson hit a bunch of mid-range jumpers. I saw SGA win it last year with a bunch of mid-range jumpers. As a meat watcher, I know that you nerds are trying to ruin the game that I have really been enjoying for this playoffs. You've ruined it. You've destroyed it. My name is David West.
Yeah. I'm in the game. My name is Josh Hart. I am actually in that game.
David West stepping up as being, a big critic of analytics and nerds and the people who are involved in basketball but shouldn't, because it should be only for real hoopers only. I did have a little sympathy for David West, though. He's like, look, what the league needs today is more David West. I get it. I understand why your perspective would be about big guys who only take catch and shoot 14-footers. I get it. Like,
it's like
you're David West.
It's like in our scene, like painters and musicians is being like, you know what the restaurant scene is missing? Someone like me, like an Unk in the Unker spot, just cooking mapo tofu. That's everything's wrong because we don't have that. And the hubris is amazing. Confidence in an athlete is required. David West had an amazing career, man. He won championships. He was a big part of great teams. He was not a thrilling player by any means, but he was dependable. And, his brand was toughness. I hope he gets his own show or podcast now. Maybe he can parlay that into a coaching gig. None of what he says or what Josh Hart says is wrong. I mean, I always think of you have choices, and if you know too much, it could affect your happiness, confidence, performance, whatever. And I make those concessions every single day before I get on this pod. I'm like, I'm the best. Other than my podcast partner, I'm the best podcaster in history. Like, let's go, let's roll. And as soon as it's off, I'm like, oh my God, just bury me under this dirt. But like you cannot do that, right? This is why I do not excel at these things that David West and Josh Hart excel at. Now, I'm not talking about sports. I'm talking about this mentality. And is there a bone to pick here? Because it feels like it's not only too late. I was thinking we know that metrics and math have taken the DNA of the thing that we're doing when the owners are all tech people and gathering biometric data. It's not Timothy Chalamet, it's who's sitting next to Lutnick. That's when you know you've lost.
I have sympathy for players who want to say, these quants, they don't know what they're talking about. It's the guys who get out there and run the plays and actually do the grunt work. I spent my life working to make the NBA, to stay in there, running play after play, learning the offense, learning other players' tendencies, being in the gym. What can you tell me about the sport? I'm pretty sympathetic to those guys' position. I don't agree with it, but I'm sympathetic to it. Sure. Cool, man. It's just strange to me that basketball, both from former players, which again, I'm sympathetic to, but also fans, members of the media, how has this been going on for 15 years? How is the inability to shake statistics still happening? And I realized in this case, it was just a BMM psyop.
This is all about Jaylen Brown. We've talked about this in real time throughout Jaylen Brown's career because the words don't match what I'm watching. And then just to make sure, I have to look at the box score because I'm like, dude, he missed a ton of shots and he turned the ball over almost as much as he assisted on plays. Am I in Fight Club? And now we're here. And I'm so tired. I'm so tired. He got a super max. He's an all NBA player. He's got finals MVP inexplicably. And now people are like, wait a second. He's not that good. I'm like, oh my God. I just want to crawl into a hole.
All of it is so funny, but also Jaylen Brown having a full year when he was able to just chuck to his heart's content, being mentioned as an MVP, winning finals MVP, having a contract that pays him $60 million a year, being lauded with all NBA, all-star. Why are you so mad, dog? It's bigger than that. I'm like, I don't know. That stuff is all pretty big. It's about respect. Well, yeah, but what about all these awards you got? What about all the cash? What about you being mentioned as an MVP candidate?
Hardware. Yeah.
I'm still peevish. Why? What are you mad at, man?
When the Ringer and ESPN were going after Kyrie Irving for saying some really stupid stuff, we were like, yo, Jaylen Brown, don't let Jaylen Brown get on the mic because this guy has the same opinions, like he has told us so. And then he finds out about Twitch, and I don't think the disinterest in the league, and by the time someone might listen to this pod, he may have landed in a different team city, but the disinterest on the market is not necessarily about his basketball play. He seems annoying. He makes a ton of money. I don't know. Half the teams in the league don't need a win now player, and the other half don't want to tear down their entire squad. It's just annoying to buy a Lamborghini.
Well, there's that, but also I think this juxtaposition where we can discuss his issues as a player and his contract, but it's being balanced by not people who are looking at the intricacies of his game and saying, no, you're getting this all wrong. If he does this is why they're great. It's just people saying, yeah, but he scored 28 a game. Yeah, but he carried them to a 3 seed. Yeah, but he was the finals MVP. It's just the meat watchers. It's not actually The games watchers who are countering the stat nerds, the eye test people are like, yeah, he's kind of like the seventh best player on a team, to be honest.
Dude,
You look at him; it's very clear what his issues are. He doesn't really go left. He's not a great shooter. He only gets hard shots. He makes a good amount of them, but they're difficult. And he's not a good defender anymore. He never passes the ball. He led the league in shot attempts. He led the league in turnovers. He doesn't want to be a second banana, and he makes $60 million a year. That's just eye test stuff. That's not
insane.
stats.
What games are these
That's
guys
just
watching?
what you
I believe
see.
in the eye test. I'm like, so you agree then? He dribbles the
Yeah.
ball off his foot when he goes left. This was the
Right.
whole thing. So he can't go left.
I was like, you're box score bobbing over there, man. Like if you were watching the games, you would agree with the idea that he has some weaknesses in his game. I just find the crux of this is that Jaylen Brown is a very identifiable prototype. He is an overpaid chucker. We know who those guys are.
Norman
Monte
Powell.
Ellis was one of them.
Yeah.
Jerry Stackhouse was one of those guys. I'm just saying, we know what these guys are. We get it. It's not even an insult. We just know the overpaid chucker. That is a tried and true member of the NBA community. The guy who scored a lot of points and he gets a big contract and you're like, I don't know, man. It's just kind of empty numbers. He's just an overpaid chuck. The problem is that the BMM has over-credentialized him with so many awards and so much, commendations about All-Star, All-NBA, MVP candidate, that it creates this imbalance. No, he's just an overpaid chucker. Forget all the stuff the BMM did. They're just fans. They're just rooting for their guy. He's an overpaid chucker who's kind of annoying and sort of just wants the ball all the time. I don't know. I honestly now like Jaylen Brown a lot more than I used to. I find him really funny and entertaining, and I'm rooting for him to go on his Scorched Earth Revenge tour where it's going to be really, really funny. But yeah, he's not that complicated.
Yeah, I think the BMM overplayed its hand, or it started drinking its own green Kool-Aid, right? So the irony is we have a generational player here. The writers who are Boston fans are going to vote him into All NBA. He's going to qualify for the Supermax. Ooh, it's okay. He's going to be worth it. Ooh, the Knicks bounced him like kind of easily. Oh, wait, the Sixers bounced him kind of easily. We got to get off of them. It's like, but you gave him a Supermax. It's like, don't worry. Don't worry. He's finals MVP. We got him that. And everyone else is like, but he can't dribble with his left hand.
They almost got away with it too. They almost traded him for Giannis. If not for those meddling kids in Miami.
Or the hubris, respect to Brad Stevens, but saying, no, we won't give you any more than that. We're giving you Jaylen Brown, and Milwaukee's like, okay, we're just going to get some picks we're just going to get a bunch of stuff from Miami that doesn't even matter.
Okay, we're going to take the better deal then. Is that cool with you guys?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't want to talk about like NBA Twitter too much because it's not reality. But the market doesn't lie. The fact that there's no interest isn't because he's not a decent player. It's because the price is too high. If you want to flip him from Duran, you can just have him. The money is weird or anything and everything. But if you wanted him for Kamara and the Sharp, you can probably have him. And I think the Trailblazers didn't even want to do that. You just have to lower the price. I can say I'm as good a painter as Picasso, but when I put up my painting of a leprechaun for $175 million, the market will tell me different.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I think Jaylen Brown would have more value than, say, a John Morant, who is essentially salary dumped for Jeremy Grant and someone else. Just to
Are you
add up
sure? Both healthy. Are you sure?
But that's what I was going to get to. I was like,
yeah.
We have to concede that John Morant missed most of last year and he's missed a ton of time, leaving aside the off the court stuff, which really isn't that big of a deal.
I agree.
John Morant is a former number 2 pick who was 6th in MVP voting, who was an all-star, who was one of the most exciting players on earth, got salary dumped. Trae Young got salary dumped. Anthony Davis got salary dumped. You're pretty close to being a salary dump, except that you make too much money to do it.
Right.
It's not that you're terrible. That's
Yeah.
just how this league works now.
Yeah, and it's hard to talk about accolades and not talk about numbers because if we're just using our eyes to watch games, whatever, he's got flaws. But then when we start calling out accolades, All NBA, All Star, Finals MVP, the next question is, well, over whom? And then at that point, it is not like a pure Kellerman boxing transitive property debate of who has more heart. It's like he shot better though. It's like I don't like this shooting percentage stuff. Like this math makes me scared. I'm like, yeah, his shooting is better. So if he takes more shots, he's going to be better than Jalen Brown, who is a static player. Scalable, we always say that. Scalable, being scalable is a
Mm-hmm.
skill, and he has
Good,
shown
good
that.
ISO. He's a good ISO scorer, and good ISO scorers are scalable.
Yeah, yeah. You put him on any team, I'm almost like you make 29 teams worse. Is there one scenario that makes the outlook of a team better? I mean, if Sacramento is going to win more games with him, but then be out of a good lottery slot, I don't know. The flat nods are confusing. This whole thing. Don't trade for Jalen Brown.
Well, the point earlier about the return for Kawhi Leonard, that was a good return, but part of that was accepting 2 years of Brandon Ingram making $40 million a year. That's just how this works now. If you are overpaying somebody and it happens immediately, like, we'll do it. We'll pay this guy $40 million a year. It's like, we've made a terrible mistake, as everyone knew we were doing, but we did it anyway. Sixers, welcome Paul George. You're making $54 million a year, and now you're completely immovable. That's just how this works. But let's talk a little about LeBron. We got 25 minutes left. LeBron James is escaping Los Angeles. What is he going to do?
I heard as of Tuesday night, as we're recording, the Unk, the Dream Unk team, the Golden State Warriors is not going to happen because Washington is not interested in a trade with the Warriors for Anthony Davis. So I'm hearing back to Cleveland for a feel good story, perhaps. They could really use him. A big forward, as smart as him and as good as he still is. Damn. If he circumvents that mechanism of getting paid what he's actually worth and plays for a lower number, that's awesome. It's a trick, but it's awesome.
Yes. I think I'm glad that the unction isn't happening in Golden State.
Come on.
I don't know.
Come on. It's too fun. All hurt. Lakers. Karl Malone, Gary Payton.
They're just going to get hurt. It's like Anthony Davis, LeBron, Curry, Al Horford is here. Like, guys, stop.
I forgot him. Yo, shout out to Kristaps Porzingis, who's not quite 38.
Yeah, he's hurt all the time, but what is he, like 31? 29?
Hey, he signed for 2 years. Good for him.
Again, I don't think LeBron in Cleveland is the most exciting. I kind of want him in Miami because that was, in some ways, my favorite LeBron. I was not anti-decision. I liked the Heatles.
For his brand. To put on that jersey again is too crazy. That's why the Bulls haven't been good since Jordan. There's a bad mojo if he puts that thing on again.
You know what was shocking, though, was realizing that he has been in LA for 8 years, which is twice as long as he was in Miami. That blew my mind.
It's fucked up.
Miami was such a big deal and so all-consuming, and all everyone talked about and thought about, and it validated him. And it was just such a laser focus on LeBron in Miami. To think that was 4 years and he has spent twice as much in LA, I kind of couldn't believe it.
Is the LA brand, I know they're very strong. The LA brand doesn't feel very as present as it usually is. My Lakers friends are deflated. They just want to move on from Luca. Reeves was kind of an unnecessary investment for some. There's just no heat with the Lakers right now. I think there's been confident Knicks fans saying all these teams are scrambling to compete with the Knicks. I don't think that's true. This is the same behavior every offseason. But every team is not building like Leon Rose did because it's not quite possible. You have to find the right pieces. You got to find the right nepo baby whose father's on the bench already. But and Brunson is a one of one. But what's happening in LA is odd. And LeBron wanting to leave is odd because his son is there. He could have easily just rode into the sunset in fucking Los Angeles, where he's building a $100 million compound with the Lakers. Just stay there and retire. But he was like, I'm out of here, man. I'm leaving my son behind.
I think it was the Lakers saying, Bron, it might be time to move on. You know, if you want to stick around on a veteran minimum, you know the classic Seinfeld invitation?
Yeah.
This was more of an Unkvitation.
You're telling me, though, Rich Paul and LeBron James wouldn't just come out and say, we want to stay in LA? That's like the most basic thing everyone does. And then it's on LA to do something. It's like, we'll take less money. But whatever. We want to stay here.
But then to your point, why would he do it? Is it too damaging to his brand to think that LA has said you're spurned?
In the best possible scenario, he is thinking in basketball terms. He is jackass. He's like, I'm willing to get Mason in the face one more time, and then I'm done. I don't see a championship here with Luca, who's always hurt, and Reeves, who is showing signs of being hurt all the time. They're good, but they can't figure out like their big man situation. Ayton just opted in. So I think, the Odyssey is coming out this summer. LeBron James is like, I need to go home, but I don't know where home is. Is it literally Cleveland, or do I need to win another championship? I'm never going home.
I don't believe he wants to go to somewhere that isn't Cleveland or Miami. He's already gone back to Cleveland once. He would definitely do it again, in theory. I think Miami, you may be right that it's bad mojo, but he could still see that as viable. Like, okay, Pat Riley's still there. There's my guys. There's Giannis. There's
Riley and LeBron fought, right?
They did, but he also fought with Dan Gilbert, and they sorted it out. If you're Riley and LeBron says
Cleveland,
I'm saying I would be surprised if he's like, it's the Wizards.
Wait, does he like Giannis? Have they clowned around together? Are they cool? But Giannis isn't cool with anybody, right? I don't work out with NBA players. I don't know why
they didn't quite coincide. The rise of the Bucks to prominence came after LeBron went to LA, for the most part.
But they're not like friends, right? Like him and LeBron and AD are friends. Yeah. Was Giannis ever at a Taco Tuesday?
I don't think I don't think Giannis is friends with really anybody.
Thanasis. What's Thanasis gonna do?
Do we want to? Yeah. So I guess this is a roundaway route to getting to Giannis in Miami, which him and Bam, like, it's kind of a cool imperfect duo. Neither of you guys can really shoot. I guess Bam's going to play center full time. I know they signed Tim Hardaway Jr. tonight. It's a fine
for 1 year
pickup.
Hey, sure. Shooting is great. I don't fault any team for doing that.
I think they're bringing back your boy Simone Fontecchio.
Yeah, man, little Italy. I think it's important to beat this Siegelman Sable horse that MVP Giannis needs a player like Brook Lopez, perhaps literally Brook Lopez next to him. And Bam, while however good he is, isn't that spacer or rim protector. Bam does different things. Bam, all this talk about Heat culture is always about Max Strus and Duncan Robinson. Like Bam Adebayo was supposed to be this all-world talent, and he is the reason they had to make this trade is like they can't get him to come through on his promise in the draft. He's not this point forward we thought he would be. He's not like a rim protector. He's not a spacer. He doesn't shoot that well or that much. He's just kind of more of a traditional, obviously great player, but a traditional big.
Yeah, if you go back to the Joy of Basketball, which was written during this period of time when Bam was emerging as this multifaceted talent, we talked about him being sort of the future of big men in the league.
Yes.
He can grab a rebound. He can bring the ball up. He can find someone cutting on a backdoor pass. And it wasn't even necessarily about being a great shooter and a floor spacer. It was just being multi-positional and being weirdly skilled in ways that weren't, you can do every single thing. You can shoot, you can dribble, you can post up. It was just about finding odd skill sets at different positions. Like, hey, we got a stretch five. He might not be able to dribble, but our power forward can. Mm-hmm. And then we've got a defensive stopper at the 2, and he can guard big guys on switches, whatever the case might be. I don't know. I think Miami obviously has its work cut out. It's fortunately for them, a place that someone like LeBron would enjoy playing. Ben Simmons, the god himself, was like, hey, I'd like to play in Philly or Miami because it's Miami. Who doesn't like living there? I think they have some Davion Mitchell, Drew Smith, some decent young defenders.
Al Larson.
Yeah. Pelly jacket.
Yeah. He's got
I don't know. I'm sure Miami will be like probably fine. I would say for me, I think LeBron there, bad mojo aside, is kind of hilarious. LeBron, Bam, and Giannis. It's just funny.
If LeBron wants to take less money, he can make any team interesting. Imagine him in Detroit. Amazing. Yo, what's up with Jalen Duren? We got to talk about Jalen Duren.
He's not going anywhere. It was all smokescreen. They were just talking shit.
Why is he being so mad for?
They were probably trying to lowball him, and then he's like, fuck it, I'll go to the King. It's like, all right, dude, no reason to debase yourself. We're going to give you the max. We were just seeing if you'd take less. It's like, we don't actually want to do that to you. He's definitely going to go back to Detroit. They already said we're going to pay him, and we're not going to, and we'll match any offer.
Has any player lost his aura that quickly? He got dunked on in a way in the playoffs that kind of, his soul floated away from his body.
That was a rough one. I remember when we talked about, that dunk, I saw it in real time. Holy fuck.
Yeah, dude, he slid like 7 feet.
Jesus Christ.
Like, it's just like, oh, that's unfortunate. It wasn't even that bad, but he kept on sliding. I was like, what the fuck?
No, he went from this handsome, menacing bully who was shoving people around to like, I don't know, the guy who gets beaten down and menaces society. Like,
did he always have Elon Musk's chest? I'm like, wait, have I been seeing this incorrectly this whole time? That dunk really took it out.
Also, though, he was shockingly good during the regular season.
Yeah, dude, I know.
I was looking at those numbers. I was like, I know he does not do the interesting things that someone like that Jokic does or Giannis. Not at all.
Still good.
But like, other than Jokic, maybe Giannis, he put up one of the most efficient, high-scoring seasons in the history of the entire NBA. It was phenomenal. Like, if you look at those two vectors, like 25 a game or 24 a game, whatever it was, and a true shooting percentage of like 680 or 70% or whatever it was, it's just them.
Yeah.
And even if you adjusted for, era, maybe Shaq or something would be in that mix. Yeah, he was really, really good on offense. And the fact that he wasn't in the playoffs is why the Pistons fell apart.
Yeah,
just him. He got dunked on him and their whole team collapsed.
Strange, really strange, odd. But this whole postseason was odd. The Sixers looking good. The for one round. The Pistons looking bad. I can't explain that, but I'm not sure what Detroit is doing. I hope they really feature Asar Thompson, who was kind of also exposed in these playoffs as someone you don't have to guard ever if away from the rim. But I still love him as a defender. I don't know what this landscape looks like. This offseason has been super fun. So far, we're waiting for the Jalen shoe to drop, but and LeBron. I don't know. Is there any team that you look at on June 30th tonight and are like, damn, they leveled up?
No, I don't think so. A lot of the trades that have occurred, I'm not crazy about. I'm just trying to look up right now and see if there's anything new we've seen. There's only been a that we would want to cover. I mean, Zach Collins agreed to a 2-year extension. Thanks, Shams. Yeah, nothing too new.
Like, remember, people were saying, "What are we gonna do without Woj? We're doing fine. We don't need Woj."
But I'm not a big Woj guy either. But this ecosystem just generally sucks. Have a message board. Just post it all. Why is it being?
You don't need ESPN.
Why is it put out piecemeal, directed by agents to like their particular steward who's going to give them and their clients better coverage? It's fucking dumb.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Bulletin board, live cam on a bulletin board every now and then. Oh, something's announced. Stick it on there. Hold on, before we get out of here, can we talk a little about the Hornets destroying their team? What was that about, Andrew?
I'm a little not as much as you, but I love LaMelo Ball. He's weird. He's awesome. He's one of the best shot creators. Like, what he does on the court offensively is magical. He's a basketball genius. They were so good last year. They had the team. I'm like, just do stuff in the margins and run it back. And they moved him. And I think the rationale behind that was his injury history, how strange he is, and then maybe making an error and building around Con Knipple, who I love, as you know, but it's not the type of building piece that LaMelo Ball is.
What I found strange was that the excitement about the Hornets last season, some of it was about Con Knipple being, it was super gifted rookie, great shooter. I'm saying part of the excitement was about that, but part of it was because they were really good for a nice portion of the season. They had the number 1 net rating, one of the best starting lineups of all time, best margin of victory. They're rolling up these really impressive numbers, and they did flame out, and they didn't make the actual playoffs. They perished in the play-in series. Game 2, actually, after beating, they beat someone and then they lost to Orlando, who then played the Pistons. But all that to say, if I was them, I would have said, we somehow stumbled upon something here. Diabate, it works. Bridges is the issue. We need to go out there and upgrade the 4. Trading Bridges made sense to me. You had a couple first-round picks in this draft. You had Bridges. You had some other guys. To me, that was it. You figure out, who do we want at power forward here? I don't mean like you go and get Anthony Davis. The money may not work. And that's like pushing things around. But to me, that seemed like...
Can Diabate play the 4? Not really, right?
No. They need a shooter. They're a three-pointer based offense. They need someone who can space the floor and shoot. But they need a better defender than Bridges. But that's what I would have done. I would have looked at that team and said, how do we keep our young core of LaMelo, Con Knipple, and
Kobe White?
Well, they added Kobe White, who's 2 years older than LaMelo Ball, and Brandon Miller. And we just need to add one other piece, one other star in that mix, and we might be able to make that jump to real contention. And they threw it all away. They said, we'd actually rather just be a rebuilding team. Really strange.
To take devil's advocate, which I kind of like, and I actually believe the it's all about the corporate idea of risk and probability. And I think Lamelo's injury history with Miles Bridges off court stuff and just him not being that good, they got the wild cards off the team. And while I think Kobe White is a big step down from LaMelo Ball, Kobe White was a lottery pick.
He's a
He
good
played
player.
well for them, and he's a serviceable replacement who chucks up threes. They have Cockbrenner, who was also a number one first round draft pick. I I think there's two ways to see it, and what you're telling me is that they had figured something out, and they should see it to its completion. The other way might be they had an anecdotal season. It was an anomalous, and they didn't even get into the playoffs.
What I see, Andrew, is front office hubris. I
But
see
in which way?
the Hornets looking at their pick of Con Knipple, their discovery of Diabate off the scrap heap, their drafting of Kalkbrenner at the end of the first round, maybe even early second. But either way,
It
later
wasn't.
in
It wasn't a
later
lottery.
no
No.
later in the draft, and saying, "This is us, man. This is not the magic of LaMelo Ball. This
But
is
that all
not."
those guys are so cheap. They're so cheap. And they're like, yo, we have flexibility for a few years because Khan is on a rookie deal. Cockbender's on
Sure,
a rookie deal. We're paying Miller, I believe. Like, if we shed
they're
LaMelo's
gonna have to
contract,
pay him in a year or two, I think.
I would trade him. I don't like his shoulder situation at all. But sort of like where the Celtics got caught holding this contract of Jaylen Brown, who they kind of waited one season too long to trade. It might be a LaMelo Ball situation. If LaMelo Ball misses games again, it's like we should have traded him when he had the best season of his career.
I understand this argument. I think it would be more convincing to me if they sold high and instead of selling when his value was high and getting a modest return. I like Nas Reed. It's a solid player. He might be a little overrated, but I am a
Yeah,
fan.
his name is
I'm a fan.
Nas. A lot of weight on that letter Z.
Also, though, I mean, he's cool. He's a tall guy who can do like from Jelly Crew, doing crazy finishes.
He's
His
all
handle
right.
is sick. I'm just saying he's more of a cool player than he is a great player.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's 6'11", shooting threes and he can handle the ball. He's cool, but he's not a great player. Those swaps become a lot less valuable once you realize they were tied in with other teams' swaps. And then
right.
that pick is way down the line. So, yeah, it's an unprotected first. Those have value no matter what, TBD. So I just felt like if the Wolves came to him and said, we need LaMelo Ball, and they're like, fuck you, dude. We got this all figured out. He's our ringleader. He is the greatest offensive offensive engine in the league last year after, Jokic and after SGA. We got it figured out. You're going to have to give us something we just have to take. It didn't feel like they hit him with that. They gave him like a pretty good offer. It was like fine.
I always remember when I, with my eyes, look at sports, like time lurches on. A generation, I'm not supposed to understand the next generation's thoughts and words. And these organizations, these corporations are just like very conservative. And I can imagine any basketball team looking at LaMelo Ball and saying, that's a lot, man. He's covered in tattoos. Like, I don't know. He gets hurt a lot. He's weird. We like him. His teammates like him. But if we can deal, look at the Knicks who won. Just like sold dogs, soldiers, corporate, right? Low risk.
They gentrified the damn Hornets.
They gentrified the Hornets. Basically, even Josh Hart being like, I love the Bible and I hate math. It's like, right, you're in the right place, even though you like to get all jackass on the podium. But yeah, they gentrified the Hornets, and some people got evicted, but now they have cleaner streets.
it's funny because, well, safer streets for sure. But it's funny
There's some dog poop there.
LaMelo's not driving. That was my joke.
Yo, does he
But I
have
was gonna,
foam balls on his car? No, he has a sports car. He's got a Joker car. My bad.
I was just gonna say though, you could sort of see the writing on the wall organizationally when they went and drafted Khan from Duke, then Kalkbrenner, who's another white dude, then they went and got Sion James, who's also from Duke. Then the Bridges trade, they get back Joloff step expert Grayson Allen, who is from Duke. They're clearly trying to do in some ways what you were saying, this like corporatizing
North
this
Carolina. Yeah.
this con-knippling effect of winning basketball. And now we have to put all of our hopes in the Timberwolves and hope that they can get a power forward, LeBron James, to go along with Ant LaMelo, because we need them to save the culture, Andrew.
I love that big three so much. That is awesome. I don't think they're gonna go far, but Ant, Gobert, and LaMelo is like my PEDs. I love that. Incomplete. There's so many incomplete teams out there. The Heat, the Bucks are no longer on the table. The Wolves, I love that trade for them, but incomplete, right? They lack size, they lack shooting at the bigs. They need Jaden McDaniels is going to do a lot of heavy lifting. I don't know if you want that. It's weird out there. I like it. It's weird.
Dean Wade, 4 years, $39 million with the Sixers. Well, that's really boring. Thanks.
D Wade for your Sixers?
So boring. He's fine. He can defend. He's not that good of a shooter. He never. Everyone who got mad about Thibault not being a great shooter and not doing much on offense, Dean Wade scores less and is also a league average shooter. I find it fine. It's really boring. But yes, Timberwolves, in some ways, that triumvirate, you're like genius creator, one of the best ISO scorers we've seen, and then the NBA's arguably maybe number 2 at this point, or maybe Chet, but top 3 rim protectors. That's a great combination to build around. You don't need that many other parts. You've got the hard stuff taken care of. Genius passer, genius ISO scorer, relatively speaking, and genius rim protector. You don't need a lot to make that team interesting and formidable, other than the fact that LaMelo, might crash his,
Joker
cyber truck on some black ice and spin out.
There's not enough players in the league, man. They can't expand. None of these teams have like enough options. Like there's needs everywhere, and not enough players to fill those needs.
Where there's always enough players to fill your needs. Pause. Sorry. I got to put the jerk filter back on.
Reporting from a sports bar capital of the world.
Cookies.
I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.